Hey guys, Zach Draskovic here. Today in this video, I hope to give you a better understanding of where to fish in the fall and give you the basics of how you need to study the map before you go out on your next trip. Alright, so in the fall, it's pretty common knowledge that fish will go and push bait up in the creeks into the back of the pockets. And if it were as simple as that, you could go into honeycomb here, fish in the back of the pocket. If you didn't get bit back here, you could just say they're not in their fall pattern yet, or there's not any fish to be had in honeycomb. But it's not as simple as that. Sure, there could be some fish that are pushed back here, but if there's already a couple boats back here, which the back of these pockets get filled up because it is common knowledge that fish will push bait into the backs of the creeks. Where else are you going to fish? Or if you're going to try to find the winning spot, such an obvious location may not be where to go. Well, you next have to look at little ditches. You got to think all these little ditches here, any little depression like this is going to be also a pocket that fish could be pinning bait up against. So every little ditch you're gonna have to go and check out, and not just the ones that are going up against shore. Some of these ones that maybe end a little bit further out are going to be less obvious. So if you find a little ditch like this that maybe necessarily doesn't go all the way to the shore and create an obvious pocket, you might find some fish that are going to be a little bit less pressured. And you have to think abstract in the terms of when you're looking for pockets, you got to think like we have a point here. Each corner of this point also creates a pocket. So if you have some points around, you need to check either side of them to make sure that fish aren't also trapping bait on either side of the points. And if you have like maybe an isolated dock or laydowns, that's a point on a smaller scale. If it's thick docks, you may not have something like that, or a thick line of laydowns, you might not have fish trapping up against them. But I've seen good schools of fish pushing bait up against an isolated laydown, sticking out from the bank, because they're looking to trap fish up against a hard target. Now, also again, if you have another kind of sneakier way you can find some fish, is like you have a big flat here. If there's a turn in the grass line, that's again going to create a pocket that's not going to be as obvious to other anglers. So if you are scanning and see a divot in the grass line due to bottom composition, that's something that could be holding some fish and be something that other anglers aren't going to be hitting as often, like in the backs of the pockets here. And as some of this grass and stuff starts to die off, if the grass is dead, it's not going to be holding fish. So if you can find some green patches, some healthy patches of grass on a flat, the remaining healthy grass this time of the year is gonna hold some fish. You can find good groups of fish holding in a very small area if you can find some good healthy grass. And if there's not good grass to be found, the fish are gonna pull to hard targets. Not every place has docks or a rock that they can hold on. They might hold on hard bottomed areas. Now, hard bottom areas are good places to try to discover, because the shallow hard bottomed areas in the early parts of the year will be where bluegill and the bass will spawn. So being able to identify those looking at a map is going to help your fishing all times of the year, not just in the fall. Now, when you're looking at a map for hard bottom areas, not everyone has a side scan or any kind of technology where they can go along and identify the bright returns on their side imaging. So and if you do have that kind of technology, you're going to waste a lot of time driving up and down the river, up and down the creek, trying to find hard bottom areas that way. Now, what I've discovered as a method to try to find high percentage areas of having hard bottom is studying the contour lines. And if you have a sudden irregularity in the contour line where it widens, if you look, you have a fairly uniform contour line here and then it widens up. This is a spot that could have a harder bottom, or out here, but this isn't necessarily the depth that we're looking for. But if you have, if you discover a depth that fish are holding, studying some contour lines around that depth and trying to find an irregularity that's wide, like this, like you see here, this is all of a sudden a wider part in the contour line. This is the spot that I would go to, and it's a higher likelihood that the bottom here is going to be harder composition. It'll have more fish. The grass is more likely to be more scattered and have some room for the fish to maneuver in there and trap the bait, because the fish don't like a really thick carpet-like grass. I found that I find more fish in these areas that have a harder bottom, either from shell or gravel, whatever it is down there. The fish like that harder composition, and they will hold to it more this time of the year. So we have a wider contour line there. Again, on this point is another example here. You can see this contour line here, right here. It's flatter. This wider contour line. This is an area that I'd scan. This is an area that I would fish, because this spot right here, being that the irregularity, that wide contour line, is going to be a higher percentage area for having a hard bottom. So whether or not you have the technology or not, and you can apply this in other areas of the lake, this isn't just a Honeycomb Creek specific thing. You can go and find these irregularities, these wider contour lines on your map, and you can either scan them or fish them. You know, drag something like a tungsten weight and have some kind of braided line on there, so you can get a good feel, and you can tell if this is actually a harder bottomed location. But that's been something that I've found throughout the years that has been repeatable. So this fall, don't just go to the very backs of a creek, and if they're not there, call it quits. There's a ton of locations that these fish can be, and if you get sneaky and find these hidden pockets, the little ditches, use your imagination, study your map, find those little hidden places where these fish can trap bait. You're going to be more likely to find success on the water. Hope this helps you out and helps you catch some more fish. Please like and subscribe. Remember, I have links down in the description for some of my favorite baits and products.